I'm Joey Only, and I'm wearing my Core Blund and the Hurtin' Albertans hat. There's nothing more Albertan than singing cowboy songs, except for flying fighter planes of any kind. Today, on this day in history, on January 23rd, 1945, a very special Albertan shot down 2 German jet fighters. Although this wasn't his first success, this is a man who became an ace in 5 minutes the month before during the Battle of the Bulge. Here's the story of Richard Audet. Richard Joseph Audet was born on the 13th of March 1922 in Lethbridge. He was the 6th child of Paul Audet, a rancher, and Edowiska Marcoux Audet. Dickie Audet rode a horse to school at the age of 10 years old, traveling about 29 kilometers every morning. Audet studied at Garbett Business College in Lethbridge, but worked as a stenographer and bookkeeper at the Royal Canadian Air Force Station, High River. A stenographer is someone who takes notes with a typewriter, such as you might see in a courtroom. Dick Audet enlisted in the Royal Canadian Air Force at Calgary, Alberta, 28th of August in 1941. He was trained as a fighter pilot and commissioned as a pilot officer 24th of October 1942. His pilot wings were presented to him by Right Honourable William Lyon Mackenzie King, 10th Prime Minister of the Dominion of Canada. Pilot Officer Audet was sent to England, crossing the North Atlantic aboard ship and arriving the 6th of December 1942. He was assigned to the No. 6 Elementary Flying School at RAF Little Rissington, Gloucester, and then No. 17 Advanced Flying Unit at RAF Calverley, Nantwich, Cheshire. He was promoted to Flying Officer on the 23rd of April 1943 and transferred to the No. 53 Operational Training Unit RAF Heston, west of London, where he transitioned to the Supermarine Spitfire. Flying Officer Richard Audet married Miss Iris Christina Gibbons of Pinner, a village in London Borough of Harrow at Northampton, Northamptonshire, on the 9th of July 1944. He then joined No. 411 Squadron, Royal Canadian Air Force on the 14th of September 1944. He was promoted to the rank of Flight Lieutenant on the 23rd of October. By December 29th, 1944, the Battle of the Bulge had been going on, but the weather had broke and had allowed air cover to give the advantage to the Allied soldiers down on the ground. Of course, the Battle of the Bulge was this German desperation push offensive to hopefully break themselves out of the Western Front. It was doomed to fail, probably sped up their failure. This was the day that Richard Audet shot down 5 German planes in 5 minutes. On the 29th of December 1944, Flying Officer Richard Joseph Audet from the Royal Canadian Air Force was section leader of No. 411 Squadron, an RCAF squadron under the control of the 2nd Tactical Air Force, Royal Air Force. The squadron was based on an advanced airfield in the Netherlands. In the early afternoon, Audet's yellow section engaged a flight of 12 Luftwaffe fighters, 4 Messerschmitt Bf-109s and 8 Focke-Wulf FW-190s near Rhine in northwestern Germany. Flying a Supermarine Spitfire, Flying Officer Audet led his section into the attack. He later reported, "I was leading a yellow section of 411 Squadron in the Rhine-Osnabrück area when Control reported Huns at the Rhine and the squadron turned in that direction. An ME-262 was sighted, and at that time I spotted 12 on our starboard at 2 o'clock. These turned out to be a mixture of approximately 4 ME-109s and 8 FW-190s. I attacked an ME-109 in the formation of about 12, all flying astern. Approximately 200 yards and 30 degrees to starboard and 10,000 feet, I opened fire and saw strikes all over the fuselage and wing roots. The 109 burst into flames on the starboard side of the fuselage and only trailed intense black smoke. I then broke off my attack. After the first attack, I went around in a defensive circle about 8,500 feet until I spotted an FW-190, which I immediately attacked from 250 yards down to 100 yards and from a 30 degree to line astern. I saw strikes over the cockpit into the rear of the fuselage. It burst into flames from the engine back, and as I passed very close over the top of it, I saw the pilot slumped in his cockpit, which was also in flames. My third attack followed immediately on the second. I followed what I thought was an ME-109 in a slight dive. He then climbed sharply and his coupe flew off of about 3,000 to 4,000 feet. I then gave a very short burst from about 300 yards and his aircraft whipped downward in a dive. The pilot attempted or did bail out. I saw a black object on the edge of the cockpit, but his chute ripped to shreds. I saw this aircraft hit and smash into many flaming pieces on the ground. I do not remember any strikes on this aircraft. The Browning button only may have been pressed. Then I spotted FW-190 being pursued at 5,000 feet by a Spitfire, which was in turn pursued by an FW-190. I called this yellow section pilot to brake and attacked the FW-190 up his rear. The flight went downwards in a steep dive. When I was 250 yards and astern of this 190, I opened fire. There were many strikes in the length of the fuselage, and it immediately burst into flames. I saw this FW-190 go straight into the ground and burn. Several minutes later, while attempting to form my section up again, I spotted an FW-190 from 4,000 feet, and he was at 2,000 feet. I dived down on him, and he turned into me from the right. Then he flipped around in a left-hand turn and attempted a head-on attack. I slowed down to wait for the 190 to fly past in range. At 200 yards and 20 degrees, I gave a short burst, but I couldn't see strikes. The aircraft flicked violently and continued to do so until he crashed into the ground. The remainder of my section saw this encounter, and Yellow 4, a Flight Officer McCracken, saw it crash into flames. The commanding officer of 411 Squadron added his remarks. In a short period, Flight Lieutenant Audet has proved himself to be a pilot of exceptional skill, aggressiveness, and determination. Apart from having destroyed 5 enemy aircraft, he has had many ground targets to his credit. I strongly recommend that he be awarded an immediate Distinguished Flying Cross. Audet's keenness and exceptional eyesight were applied equally to ground targets. As he illustrated in an earlier mission the same day, he destroyed 1 locomotive, damaged 2 others, and at least 11 trucks. On the 1st of January 1945, Flight Leader McKay of Cloverdale, BC, an RCAF Ram Squadron pilot, scored a triple victory when planes of a Canadian Spitfire wing destroyed 11 Focke-Wulf 190s in 15 minutes over Holland near the German border. McKay's triple kill, his second in a fortnight, was scored in a dogfight that developed after the Canadians saw 15 German planes taking off from Enschede Airfield. Others to destroy single enemy planes included Flight Leader Dickie Audet of Lethbridge. On the 2nd of January, RCAF fighter pilots destroyed at least 36 aircraft, and a half-dozen others fell to Canadian sharpshooters in RAF squadrons. The top scorers included McKay of Cloverdale, BC, who destroyed 2 Me-109s and an FW-190, and of course Dickie Audet of Lethbridge, Alberta. Other double scorers included Mac Reeves of Madoc, Ontario, my hometown. On the 5th of January, Dickie Audet of Lethbridge destroyed a German Focke-Wulf 190 and shared in the destruction to raise 8.5 of his enemy planes knocked down in a week. Flight Leader Audet, who shot down 5 German planes in 5 minutes Friday, got 2 more New Year's Day, shared 1 yesterday with Flight Leader J.J. Boyle of Toronto. The German planes down were among the 6 destroyed by the RCAF Grizzly Squadron in a mid-afternoon fight against just 7 aircraft north of Hengelo, Holland. On the 23rd of January 1945 was the big day. Canadian fighter pilots in continuous strikes that day destroyed at least 8 German aircraft, destroyed and damaged as many others, and blew up ground targets with withering cannon and machine gun fire. 5 of the destroyed planes and 6 of those damaged were twin-jet propelled Me-262s. They fell to the planes of Ram and Grizzly Bear Spitfire squadrons in 2 separate engagements. That was believed to be a record day's bag of jet-propelled aircraft to that point. 2 of the jets shot down were by Flight Leader Dickie Audet of Lethbridge, Alberta, and the double kill brought his score to 11.5. Unfortunately, 1 aircraft was determined to have been destroyed on the ground, and his score was reduced by half. A Grizzly Bear Squadron pilot, only starting to score a few weeks ago when he destroyed 5 German planes in 1 dogfight in one of the greatest single triumphs of aerial warfare. The latest victims were about to land in an airfield near the city of Rhein on the Ems River, 65 miles north of Dortmund. Ram pilots destroyed 3 remaining jet aircraft when they encountered more than 15 of the jets either landing or taking off from an airfield in Osnabrück. D.F. Church of Peterborough, Ontario was credited with the other kill. On the 25th of January 1945, Audet struck again, damaging a jet aircraft. On March 3, 1945, Flight Lieutenant Audet was strafing a German train west of Munster. The train returned fire and Audet's Spitfire crashed to the ground. It was not immediately known if he was killed in the crash, and it was believed for a while he had been taken prisoner by the Germans. He did not return at the end of the war. An official inquiry was held, and there was some evidence he may have been killed while in German custody. It could not be conclusively determined. His remains were never recovered or identified. In addition to the Distinguished Flying Cross and Bar, Flight Lieutenant Audet was awarded the 1939-45 star, Aircrew Europe Star with Clasp, France-Germany Star Defense Medal, War Medal, and Canadian Volunteer Service Medal with clasp. His mother and his wife each earned a memorial cross in his honor. When shot down, his flying mates were quite clear in saying that he had been shot down by flak, streamed by glycol, crashed in flames, and exploded. Nevertheless, in 1946-47, officers checking reports of war crimes were advised that a Canadian airman had been shot down that day attacking a rail line, had escaped from his aircraft, and was trying to burn it when taken into custody. He was then reported to have been taken away by Luftwaffe personnel, at least one of whom was described as a violent Nazi Party member. There is no conclusive evidence that a war crime was committed or that Audet was the center of this particular incident, but it does demonstrate the circumstances where final fates were unresolved. I still can't get over that shooting down 5 German planes with a Spitfire in 5 minutes. There's only about 10 seconds worth of ammunition in those things, right? You do that for 10 seconds, you're out. Shooting down 5 planes and German pilots, very good pilots. I'm Joey Olney, the Caribou Weather Dude. Thanks for coming by the channel today. People tell me they love the history videos, so I'll probably keep making some more. And in the meantime, please hit like, please subscribe, ring the bell, keep coming back, and we'll see you next time, everyone. Thanks very much. Bye now.